Hello, I am in Greyfriars Kirkyard at the minute. What we're going to do today is we're going to see all the dog statues that there are in Edinburgh. Well, at least all the ones I know of. Yeah, so what better place to start? Obviously, we've got Greyfriars Bobby here. Yeah, we'll head up this way and we'll walk towards him and we'll do a little chat on the way. Yes, there's a couple of statues to see. Dogs, some are a little bit more harder to spot than others, but I'll point out all the ones that I know. And I say that because there may be others that I don't know about. So feel free to tell me any that I've missed. And I'll say as well, there are some sort of repeats, if you like. I know there's a statue of Bobby in the Museum of Scotland on the Canongate. I think that's the right name for the museum. I'm not including that one. Yeah, little statue in the museum, not counting, but a statue in situ, public art, if you like. I'm including those ones. Well, here's John Gray's grave, anyway. Obviously, Bobby sat by his grave for all that time, 14 years. He would have taken shelter under him in bad weather. Yeah. I'm not going to go too much into the Bobby story because you'll probably either know it or, well, I wasn't really going to mention this, but there's a lot of theories about Greyfriars Bobby. Yeah, it's suggested that it's a made-up story. It's suggested that he was more than one dog, and the stories got merged into one. I don't really want to go into that. I'm just going to take it for face value. It's a nice story. I believe it. That's that. So yeah, we've got a statue of Bobby here. This is a fairly recent addition. And let's come around this way. Obviously, there's people in the way. You have the headstone here. I have it on good authority that Bobby is not buried here. For, well, laws for one reason, apparently. I'll show you where we think he is, but we can't be certain, but he's definitely not here anyway. Yeah, so this statue is right by the main gate, which is here. And we think Bobby is probably buried just outside the gate. Right, so yeah, when they say right outside the gate, it could be there, I don't know, somewhere. Okay, oh, step down. Yeah, so there's the more famous statue of Bobby. Yeah, please don't touch him. Locals don't like it when you touch him. And as you remember, that's the smallest building in Edinburgh, technically. Yeah, okay. Greyfriars Pub just there. I think, if I come in this way, I said I wasn't really going to tell you the story, but yeah, where he used to go and get fed, I think it's that orange building there. I think that's where Bobby used to go and get his meals. I'm not entirely sure about that. Right, that's dog number one, the most famous one. We'll go to dog number two. Actually, I've got a couple more facts before I move on to that. So technically, I'm still by Greyfriars. Yeah, so Bobby died in 1872. We do know that for certain. And he was either a Skye Terrier or a Dandy Dinmont Terrier. Yeah. There is some debate again about that, but the Dandy's probably going to come up again in this video. I think I do mention them later as well. In fact, I will. Yes. Okay, I am now in Princes Street Gardens, and we're heading to St Cuthbert's Church just over here for dog number two. Yeah, eagle-eyed viewers will have spotted that. Yeah, Greyfriars is that way, and it was quicker for me to come this way. But I've actually been filming some other stuff, a lot of things today. So I'm filming it in a weird order, shall we say? Yeah. So here is St Cuthbert's. There you go, Princes Street, running up there. Yeah, just inside this gate is a statue of a dog called Bum. we're going to have a talk about Bum, and we'll tell you why he's here. It's connected to Greyfriars Bobby. Okay, right behind this tree. I've got some music in the church to contend with now, so I have to be quick or talk over it. Bum was a St. Bernard Spaniel mix who lived in San Diego in the 1880s or thereabouts. Just got a few sticks here. You can just make out. Oh, I'm going to move your sticks, Bum. Sorry. Oh, there's some skin in the ball as well. He's not got all his paws. This was because he was having a fight with another dog, and they ended up on the train tracks. Were struck by a train. Poor Bum lost his foot. The other dog lost its life. So he was a stray in San Diego, well looked after and loved by the locals. I think they tried to home him a few times and he wasn't having it. He was no, I'm an outside dog. But yes, the reason he is here, in the 1970s, San Diego and Edinburgh became twin cities, sister cities, I think is the correct terminology. And they agreed then that they would have a statue of each other's dogs. So if you go to San Diego, not only will you find a dog of Bum, you'll also find a statue of Greyfriars Bobby as well. Right, okay, dog number 3. We're heading through the gardens. We are going to Scott Monument. Just as a quick aside, as I'm passing it, this house in Princess Street Gardens was in a kids' TV show. I forget which one it is, so I'm going to have to write it over the top. Your kids will know. Okay, we've got Scott Monument just up here. We're going to have a look at dog number 3. Obviously, Scott Monument is a tribute to Walter Scott. We've got you can't see him at the minute. We'll go up the stairs. So just in the centre, we have Walter sitting, and he's got a dog at his feet. So that dog is called Maida. We know a little bit more about this one. Born 1813, died 1824. And Maida is a crossbreed of a Pyrenean wolf dog and a Highland deerhound. Okay, we've actually got some. They've been doing some work, so we can't actually get here, but it's actually on the opposite side that we need to be to see Maida. Anyway, okay, we can just see Maida now peeking out. We'll go around the side and we'll get a better shot of her. Okay, we've got some more bits fenced off, but it's not as busy around this side. So, okay, we've got the sun to contend with as well, but I will zoom in and we can see if we can see Maida a little bit better. There you go, hopefully that's coming out. So there's Maida, Walter Scott's dog. You can actually visit this dog's grave. It is in the borders in near Melrose in Abbotsford, where Walter Scott had his house, and Maida's buried under a column in the garden. Okay, so Scott Monument, the statues on it are representative of Walter Scott's work. So there's actually 2 more animals on here. There is another dog. One of his books was called Guy Mannering, and there is a character in there called Dandy Dinmont, who has a dog with him, which is where remember at Greyfriars I was mentioning it was possibly a dandy. Yes, this is the other dandy I'm talking about, which is actually on this side. It is on the upper gallery on the pinnacle, so somewhere all the way up there. I am not going to be able to point this out to you. There is another dog up there somewhere on the Scott Monument. Yes, that's the one. And there is a pig as well. So again, from Walter Scott's book Ivanhoe, Girth the swineherd, he is on the southern lower tier, holding a pig, I believe. So if we come around this way, so this is the southern side. So somewhere not actually too high up, out there somewhere, there's a pig, if you can find him. Right, that's Maida. Okay, on dog number 4, we've got to head to George Street, sort of behind that building. Right, we've got the end of George Street, and we've got our statues just here. Let's spin around this way, St Andrew Square. This is the end you want to be at. So we're going to look at the statue and we'll tell you who it is and why it's here. Okay, here we are. So this is a statue of James Clerk Maxwell. And there's his dog. We'll talk about the dog in a minute. So who was James Clerk Maxwell? His most famous claim to fame was he took the first colour photograph. In fact, I can put a copy of that over this and show you what it was. and it was like a tartan ribbon. But yeah, he took the first colour photo, amongst other things. Yeah, he was a scientist. Einstein actually looked up to this guy. Yeah, a well-respected guy. So yes, we're talking about his dog. So his dog here is called Toby. Now, interesting fact about James, he named every single one of his dogs Toby. So there's no disputing that this is Toby. Um, I love that fact. It's brilliant. Um, Next fact, though, I'm not quite on board with, shall we say. Yeah, so the next fact's not quite so good. James did use Toby in his colour blindness research. Now, that is the fact. I don't know quite what that means. Was he testing the dog or anything like that? I don't know. I'm hoping he's just using him to observe what he reacts to and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the fact. He used him in his colourblind research. But yeah, there's Toby. Okay, we've got one more statue to go and see, which is out in Collington. Now, for me, that is going to be tomorrow, but for you guys, it will be instantaneous. So see you in a second. Okay, it is now the very next day. Yeah, I'm in Collington. We've come to Collington Parish Church. We can see our statue already right here. So this is Robert Louis Stevenson as a boy with his pet dog, Colin. Well, it's spelled Coolin. I'm going to say Colin. But yeah, here he is. It's a Skye Terrier, just out of interest. There we go. We've got a little inscription as well. All through my boyhood and youth, I was known and pointed out for this pattern of an idler, and yet I was always busy on my own private end, was to which was to learn to write. I always kept two books in my pockets, one to read and one to write in. Wow. Oh, yeah, and he's got a book in his hand as well. But yeah, there's Colin. I do like this one, I must say. It is a good one. Okay, yeah, so that's all the dog statues that I know of. So yeah, if you do know of any more, do let me know, and I'll try and get out to do a piece on them. But yeah, there we go. Bye.